Name of this is the number 7. So you ain't gonna be able to get no lottery number out of this though. So don't think you're gonna get rich from this one. Let's get Exodus 34 and 18. So we know in the New Testament we got the 7 stars, 7 churches, the 7 candlesticks, the 7 vials, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, you know what I'm saying? 7 plagues, all of these different things, the 7 candlesticks, the beast with 7 heads, 7 eyes, all of these different 7s, right? Y'all familiar with this? They're not familiar with it. 7 thunders, all of these different things, all of these different 7s in the scripture. So let's jump into it. Exodus 34 and 18. We're going to see how they all work to show us the Mashiach.
Well, Shemot, chapter 34 and verse 18. The feast of unleavened bread shall you keep 7 days.
How long?
7 days.
7 days. So this one, you shall keep this feast for 7 days. Why not 5 days? Why not 4 days? Why not 3? But it's how many days?
7 days.
You shall do it for 7 days. Finish that out.
7 days you shall eat. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, in the time of the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib you came out from Mitzrayim.
All right, so we got 7 days of the unleavened bread. Let's get Leviticus 23 and 34. Leviticus 23 and 34.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 34. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month.
What month?
The 15th day of this 7th month.
15th day of the 7th month, Lord.
Shall be the feast of tabernacles for 7 days.
For how long?
7 days.
So we're in the 7th month and we got 7 days. Finish it out.
Unto Yahuwah.
Unto Yahuwah. Alright? Let's go over. Let's get Numbers. Chapter 23. We just building this little foundation till we get the meat of it. Numbers 23. Pick it up at verse 1.
Numbers chapter 23 and verse 1. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me up here 7 altars.
Do what?
Build me up here 7 altars.
How many altars?
7 altars.
7 altars, good.
And prepare me here 7 oxen.
How many?
7 oxen.
7 oxen, good.
And 7 rams.
And 7 rams. 7, 7, 7. Alright? 7, 7, 7. 93, 11. Jump down to verse 14.
14. And he brought him into the field of Zaphim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars.
How many?
7 altars.
7 altars again, Lord.
And offered a bullock and a ram on every altar.
Jump down to verse 29.
Verse 29. And Balaam said unto Balak, build me here 7 altars.
And we go again. 7 altars.
Read. And prepare me here 7 bullocks and 7 rams.
So we got that 7, 7, 7 again. That all makes sense in a minute. Let's get on Leviticus 16. So this stuff all goes into the Mashiach. 16 and verse 11.
Leviticus chapter 16 and verse 11. And Aharon shall bring the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself.
So this is how he's getting atonement. For Aaron got an atonement for himself. Go ahead.
And shall make an atonement for himself and for his house, and shall kill the bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself. And he shall take a censer full of burning coals of fire from off the altar before Yahuwah, and his hands full of sweet incense beaten small, and bring it within the veil. And he shall put the incense upon the fire before Yahuwah, that the cloud of the incense may cover the mercy seat that is upon the testimony, that he die not. And he shall take of the blood of the bullock, and sprinkle it with his finger upon the mercy seat eastward. And before the mercy seat shall he sprinkle of the blood with his finger 7 times.
How many times?
7 times.
7 times. So we back into another 7. Jump down to verse 19.
Verse 19. And he shall sprinkle of the blood upon it with his finger 7 times.
How many?
7 times.
7 times. Go ahead.
And cleanse it and hallow it, and from the uncleanness of the children of Israel.
So 7 is to be complete. It's something that's finished, that's done. And to be clean, you got to do it 7 times. Let's get Leviticus 14. And pick it up at verse 7.
Leviticus chapter 14 and verse 7. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from leprosy.
This time he's getting rid of leprosy. Read.
7 times.
How many times?
7 times.
7 times. Go ahead.
And shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field.
Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle the oil with his finger 7 times.
How many times?
7 times.
7 times. So this is to cleanse leprosy. We're just building this up. Let's get 2 Kings chapter 5. We're still dealing with leprosy. 2 Kings chapter 5. And pick it up at verse 10.
2 Kings chapter 5 and verse 10. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times.
Do what?
Go and wash in Jordan 7 times.
So to get rid of this leprosy, the brother Naaman had to go and dip himself 7 times in the Jordan. So this also ties us into baptism. But in order to get rid of this leprosy that he had to dip himself 7 times. Why wouldn't it work after 3 times? Why not 4, 5, or 6? Why was it 7 times? So we got to, the Most High work in patterns. So we got to figure this stuff out. Leviticus chapter 12 and verse 12. Hold on, I might be in the wrong place. Hold on. One moment, please. Exodus 22. And 30.
Shemot.
So how old would a lamb have to be before it could be sacrificed? Anybody? 7 years old? Okay, let's see.
7 weeks.
Shemot chapter 22 and verse 30. Likewise shall you do with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall be with his name.
Read that again.
7 days it shall be with his name.
7 days had to be at least 7 days old before it could be sacrificed. So if you did it on the 6th day, you were doing what? Error. You were sin. Has to be at least 7 days old. Read that from the top again.
Likewise shall you do with your oxen and with your sheep. 7 days it shall be with his day, and on the 8th day shall you give it meat.
Alright, let's get on.
Or you shall give it.
The priest, let's get on Exodus 29. What did Aaron and them have to do to be consecrated? Exodus 29. Anybody, what did Aaron and them have to do to be consecrated
Circumcised.
to the Most High?
Circumcised? Circumcised? Oh,
Exodus 29 and verse 30.
Exodus chapter 29 and verse 30. And that son that is priest in his stead shall put them on 7 days.
How many days?
7 days.
7 days. Read.
When he cometh to the tabernacle of the congregation to minister is to in the Kodesh place.
So he had to do this for 7 days in order to come into the Kodesh place. Jump down to 35.
Verse 35. And thus shall you do unto Aharon and to his sons according to all things which I have commanded you. 7 days shall you consecrate them.
7 days shall you consecrate them. Verse 37.
Verse 37. 7 days shall you make an atonement for the altar and sanctify it. And it shall be an altar most Kodesh.
Most what?
Most Kodesh.
But it had to be done with all of these sevens. Everything the Most High is showing you, it's in a pattern. Again, he didn't pick 6, he didn't do it on 5, he didn't do it on 4. All of this stuff showing you something is with the 7. All of this stuff is showing you with the 7, and we just touching a light piece of it, because it's all through the book. We would actually be here all day if we actually went to all 7s and its multiples. Alright? So again, remember, it's talking about the 7 churches, the 7 candlesticks, the beast with 7 heads, the 7 plagues, the 7 thunders, 7 women. All of these things is in 7. So we got to figure out how this actually works. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's get Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1. Wait a minute. Let's go to Genesis 21 first. We'll go there next. Genesis 21 and verse 28. Genesis chapter 21 and 28. So if you made an oath with somebody or swore something with somebody, how would you do it? Anybody?
He said if you make an oath or swear by somebody, how would you do it?
Let's see. Go ahead, read.
Bereshit chapter 21 and verse 28. And Abraham set 7 ewe.
And he did what?
Set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves.
So he put 7 lambs by themselves. Ewe lambs. That's Rachel's name. Read.
And Amalek said unto Abraham, what mean these 7 ewe lambs?
What did you put these 7 lambs before me for? Read.
Which you have set by themselves. And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs shall you take of my hand, that they may be a witness.
That they may be what?
That they may be a witness.
That they may be a witness, Lord,
unto me, that I have digged this well.
Lord.
Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because they swear both of them.
So in order to make this covenant or swear something, he had to offer him 7 lambs. Again, we know the lamb, Amashiach, is the lamb, the ultimate, quote unquote, lamb. Now let's go back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1.
Bereshit, chapter 2 and verse 1. And on the seventh day,
What day?
and on the seventh day,
On the seventh day. Go ahead.
Elohim ended his work, which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day.
What day?
The seventh day.
On the seventh day. Notice, he run this whole sequence down from the first day all through the sixth. On the other days, he was doing what? Working. He was working, right? But on this day, he did something different. Hmm?
And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work which he had made, and rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day.
He did what to it?
He blessed the seventh day,
He blessed this seventh day, or increased it. Go ahead.
and sanctified it, because that in it he rested from all his work which Elohim had created and made.
So he rested on the seventh day. He set the seventh day apart from all the rest of it. All the other days, they always say, well, he made all the days. Yes, he did make all of them. But he didn't bless the rest of the days. There was only one of them that was blessed. Right? All right, let's get Genesis chapter 29. And verse 15.
Bereshit, chapter 29 and verse 15. And Laban said unto Jacob, because you are my brother, should you... Wait, am I the right verse?
Yeah, Genesis 29,
Come back
15.
now. And Laban said unto Jacob, because you are my brother, should you therefore serve me for naught? For naught? Tell me, what shall your wages be? And Laban had two daughters. The name of the elder was Leah. The name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored.
Now, Trav went over these scripts a couple of weeks ago. So she was tender-eyed, and Rachel was beautiful. Go ahead.
Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve you 7 years.
How long?
7 years.
He said he's going to serve him 7 years. And we're going to see how this pertains to Mashiach. Read that again.
And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter.
Go ahead.
And Laban said, it is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man.
Go ahead.
Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel.
How long?
7 years.
7 years for Rachel. Go ahead.
And they seemed unto him but a few days.
But what?
But a few days.
But a few days. Anybody, how does this pertain to Mashiach? He served them 7 years. And then he's supposed to get his wife. 7 years, and then he's supposed to get his wife. Anybody? I see your wheels turning out. Go ahead. Go ahead, read.
Verse 21. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place, and made a feast.
Made a what?
Made a feast.
Made a feast. Gather yourselves to the feast. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her in, and it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her.
So, when did this take place? After what? After, how long this took place?
7 years.
After 7 years. All we got right here, give me Revelation 21 and 2.
Revelation chapter 21 and verse 2. And I, John, saw the Kodesh city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Elohim, out of Shamayim, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of Shamayim saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Elohim is with men, and he will dwell with them.
That's good right there. So we see that this bride, we know after about 7,000 years that this bride is going to come to Hamashiach. Just like I brought out the other week, Jacob had 2 wives. How many wives Hamashiach got? 2 wives, right? But the only difference is he put his back together so he won't have to go through this next 7 years or the 7 weeks like Jacob had to do, because he's going to put his back together and make them one. So after 7,000 years, this thing is going to take place. This is what this story is really trying to show us. Let's get Joshua chapter 6. Joshua chapter 6 and verse 1.
Joshua chapter 6 and verse 1. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because the children of Israel. None went out and none came in. And Yahuwah said unto Joshua, See, I have given into your hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And you shall compass the city, all you men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shall you do 6 days.
How many days?
6 days.
You're going to do this for 6 days. Read.
And 7 priests.
How many priests?
And 7 priests
7 priests there
shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets.
7 trumpets there.
A ram's horn. And the 7th day.
Now what day?
And the 7th day.
Why not the 6th day or the 4th day?
And the 7th day.
And the 7th day there.
You shall compass the city 7 times.
How many times?
7 times.
7 times. Guess what? If you try to do it any other kind of way, what happens?
Nothing.
You're going to lose. It's not going to work. Because you got to do it on what? The 7th day. 7 times. Just like he's saying do it. You can't say, man, this don't make no sense. Why can't we just do it 6 times? I'm sick of walking around there. If you can't do it, you got to do it like he ordained for you to do it. 7 days. Read that verse again.
And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of rams.
7 trumpets, go ahead.
Of ram's horns. And the 7th day.
7th day, go ahead.
You shall compass the city 7 times.
7 times. You got 3 sevens right here in this one verse. Go ahead.
And the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him.
They're going to do what?
Ascend up.
They're going to do what?
Ascend up.
I want you to keep that in mind. It says they shall ascend up. When these trumpets and things go off, they're going to go up.
Every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horn before the ark of Yahuwah. And he said unto the people, Pass on, and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of Yahuwah. Hey, walk him out of here. Walk him out of here. Verse 7. And he said unto the people, Pass on, and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of Yahuwah. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that 7 priests, bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horn, passed on before Yahuwah and blew with the trumpets. And the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah followed them.
Follow them. Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. And the second day they compassed the city once and returned into the camp. So they did 6 days.
And what come after the 6 days? Seventh one. Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day.
What's part of the day?
The dawning of the day.
The dawning of the day. Go ahead.
And compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times.
7 times. Jump down to verse, not that, Luke 16.
Verse 16. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for Yahuwah hath given you the city.
Jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. So the people shouted when the priests blew the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city.
They did what?
Went up into the city.
They went up into the city. Go ahead.
Every man straight before him, and they took the city.
And they took the city. So when the Mashiach come back, what's going to take place? Is it going to be some trumpets playing? Some people going to go up? Here, see. But notice, all of this is talking about the 7th day. We're going to keep going. Let's get 2 Kings 11. Second Kings 11. We'll pick it up at verse 1.
2 Kings chapter 11. And when Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal.
She destroyed all the seeds royal. Whose seed line would this be? The royal seed. This would be David's line, right? All the seed of the royal. She trying to destroy all of the royal seed. This should already show you something right here. Read.
But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons, which were slain. And they hid him.
And they what?
They hid him.
They hid him. Keep that in mind. They did what to him?
They hid him.
They hid him. All what you got right there, and give me Isaiah 49. Isaiah 49 verse 1. Isaiah 49 and 1. We're coming right back to the 2 Kings. Go ahead.
Isaiah 49 and 1. Listen, O isles, unto me, and listen, you people from afar. And Yahuwah hath called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother hath he made mention of my name.
Who is this right here speaking? Read that again, Art.
Listen, O isles, unto me, and hearken, you people from afar. Yahuwah hath called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother he had made mention of my name.
Anybody know who that's speaking?
It's Mashiach, right?
The Messiah, but I need you to say it with confidence when you say it. Okay. So I know you really mean it. Keep reading.
And he hath made my mouth like a sharp sword.
Like a what?
Like a sharp sword.
Go ahead.
In the shadow of his hand he hath hid
He
me.
did what?
He hath hid
He
me.
have hid me. Just like that boy in 2 Kings. Finish that out.
And made me a polished shaft. In his quiver hath he hid me.
Hath he hid me. Let's go back to that 2 Kings. Pick it up at verse 2 again.
So
walk it
King
through.
11 and 2. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Ahaziah, took Joash the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons which were slain. And they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain.
So they was what?
So that he was not slain.
Go ahead.
And he was with her, hid in the house of Yahuwah 6 years.
So how long was he in there?
6 years.
Hold on. Read that from the top again. Verse 3 again.
And he was with her, hid in the house of Yahuwah.
He was hid with her in the house of Yahuwah for how long?
6 years.
For 6 years. So he's hid. Where is Mashiach right now? In the heaven, where at? In the house of his father, right? Right now, right? So we got a wicked woman that's causing all of this commotion. Y'all see that? Who does this wicked woman represent? Who does this wicked woman represent? It's a woman. Good one, but no. No. It's a woman in Revelations.
Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon.
Great, exactly. The whore in Babylon. Let's get it. Revelation 17 and 1. Cousin. 17 and 1.
Chazon. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 1. And there came one of the 7 Malachim.
How many Malachim?
7 Malachim.
Go ahead.
Which had the 7 vials.
How many vials?
The 7 vials.
Wow, go ahead.
And talked with me, saying unto me, Come here, I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore.
Of the what?
Of the great whore.
Of the great woman. The judgment of this great whore or this woman. We're going to find that the same wicked woman is back here in this 2 Kings. Let's go back to the 2 Kings. Pick it up at verse 3 again.
Verse 3. And he was with her hid in the house of Yahuwah 6 years.
How many years?
6 years.
6 years. Go ahead.
And Athaliah did reign over the land.
So this woman was reigning over this land for 6 years, or 6,000 years. Go ahead.
In the 7th year,
What year?
in the 7th year,
7th year. Go ahead.
Jehoiada sent and fed the rulers over hundreds with the captains and the guard, and brought them in and brought him into the house of Yahuwah, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of Yahuwah, and showed them the king's son.
So the who?
The king's son.
Showed them the king's son. Go ahead.
And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing that you shall do. A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath.
Wait a minute. So now we talking about, he mentioned that was the 7th year. Now we talking about the Sabbath. Go ahead.
A third part of you that enter in on the Sabbath shall even be keepers of the watch of the king's house. And a third part shall be at the gate of Shur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So shall you keep the watch of the house, that it be not broken down. 2 parts of all you that go forth on the Sabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of Yahuwah about the king. And you shall compass the king round about.
So they're going to surround the king round about. See that? Get this picture in your mind. They surrounding the king round about. Go ahead.
Every man with his weapon in his hand.
With his what in his hand?
With his weapon in his hand.
Go ahead.
And he that cometh within ranges, let him be slain. And be ye with the king as he go out and as he come in.
So be with him. So these swordsmen is surrounding him everywhere that he goes. Can anybody tell me what this go back to? Pertaining to Amaziah, of course. Puzzled faces. All that we got right here, let's get Genesis chapter 3 and verse 24. Genesis 3 and 24.
Bereshit, chapter 3 and verse 24. And he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword.
What was it?
And a flaming sword, which turned every way to guard the way of the tree.
Because Amaziah is that tree. So right there, he got the cherubims guarding them. Just like they got the honored men guarding the king's son. Who was Amaziah to the Most High?
His son.
His son, right? Let's go back to the second Kings 11. Pick it up at verse 10.
Verse 10. And the captains over hundreds did the priests give King David spears and shields.
So now we mentioning King David. Go ahead.
That were in the temple of Yah.
So in the temple of Yah, what do they call Amaziah?
Temple.
Matthew 1. All what you got right here, we're coming right back. Matthew 1 and verse 1.
Matthew chapter 1 and verse 1. The book of the generation of Yahushua Hamashiach, the son of David.
The son of who?
The son of David.
The son of David. Just like this boy right here is labeled the son of David. Let's go back.
2 Kings chapter 11 and verse 10. We can go back to verse 10.
Yeah, verse 10.
Verse 10. And the captains over hundreds did the priests give King David spears and shields that were in the temple of Yahuwah. And the guards stood, every man with his weapons in his hand, round about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar and the temple. And he brought forth the king's son.
Brought forth the king's son. Go ahead.
And put the crown upon him. And gave him the testimony.
Gave him what?
Gave him the testimony.
To the law and to the testimony that they speak not. Go ahead.
And they made him king.
They did what?
And they made him king.
Go ahead.
And anointed him. And they clapped their hands and said, Yahuwah, save the king.
Save the who?
Save the king.
Save the king. Read on.
And when
now remember, this was going right before the Sabbath was supposed to come in, right? Go ahead.
And when Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and of the people, she came to the people into the temple of Yahuwah. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced and blew with trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes.
She said what?
She rent her clothes.
She rent her clothes. She's sick about it. Read.
And cried, treason, treason.
She can't stand it. Treason, treason. She hates this king. Go ahead.
The Jehoiada the priest commanded the captains of hundreds, the officers of the host, and said unto them, have her forth without the ranges, and him that followeth her,
everybody that follow this woman, What happens to him?
Kill with the sword.
Do what?
Kill with the sword.
What?
For the priest had said, let her not be slain in the house of Yahuwah. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by the which the horses came into the king's house. And there was she slain.
And there was she slain. So we let you know, everybody that follows this wicked woman is going to face a death sentence. All we got, go back to that Revelation 17 again. Because they're going to give you the judgment of this woman. Because this is what she represents. Revelation 17 and 1 again.
Chazon, chapter 17 and verse 1. And there came one of the 7 Malachim, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, come unto me. Saying unto me, come hither, I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sit upon many waters.
So the same thing is going to happen to everybody that followed that woman, face the death sentence. Everybody that's following this wicked woman, this Babylonian system, is going to face the death penalty because she don't want the king to be crowned. Let's go back to that 2 Kings. Pick it up and read up on 17.
Verse 17. And Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahuwah and the king and the people, that they should be the Yahuwah's people, between the king also and the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal and break it down.
They did what?
And break it down.
They went into the house of Baal and did what?
And break it down.
Go ahead.
His altars and his images break they in pieces thoroughly, and slew Matan, the priest of Baal.
The who?
The priest of Baal.
Who would this represent? Matan, the priest. Absolutely. Go ahead.
And the priest appointed officers over the house of Yahuwah. And he took the rulers over hundreds, and the captains, and the guard, and all the people of the land. And they brought down the kingdom.
They did what?
They brought down the kingdom.
They brought down
The king.
They brought down the king. Where's the Mashiach at? He up, but he's coming down. Notice how I keep talking about, and they went up. Now they're talking about, and they brought him down. Read that again.
And he took the rulers over hundreds, and the captains, and the guard, and all the people from the land, and they brought down the king from the house of Yahuwah.
Where's the Mashiach at again? He in his father's house. He got to come down.
Read. And came by the way of the gate of the guard to the king's house, and he sat on the throne of the kings, and all the people of the land.
They said he sat on the throne of the kings. Well, that would make this boy what? The king of kings. Right? Read on.
And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet.
Was in what?
Was in quiet.
What would this quiet represent?
Peace.
Shalom. Shalom. We supposed to have 1,000 years of what?
Rest. Shabbat.
Rest. Read on.
And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet. And they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house.
Go ahead.
7 years old was Jehoash when he began to reign.
So 7 years old when he began to reign. What does this youngness represent? Seven years old. What say again, Martin? Innocence, exactly. Pure. When you were a child, you were more pure. Before the world gets you and corrupts you. And so that being 7 years old right here represents pure. We know Hamashiach is the pure one. So let's get on Genesis chapter 2 and 1 again.
Genesis chapter 2 and verse 1. Thus the Shamayim and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, Yahuwah ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
So again, seventh day, hallowed, set aside. Exodus chapter 20 and 8.
The book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8. Remember the Shabbat day to keep it Kodesh. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah your power. In it you shall not do any work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made Shamayim and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and he rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah brought the Shabbat day.
So he's shown us all the way from the beginning that it was something special about the number 7. Finish that out.
And hallowed it.
So we're supposed to rest on this day. Exodus 23 and verse 10.
Exodus 23 and 10. In 6 years you shall sow thy land and gather in the fruits thereof.
So in 6 years you shall sow the land and shall gather in the first fruits, the fruit first thereof. There.
But the seventh year,
But the what?
but the seventh year,
But the 7th year shall be what?
you shall let it rest
You shall
and lie
be-
still.
You shall let the land rest and lie still. So if you're a farmer, you got a farm, you're supposed to till the ground for 6 years, and in the 7th, you're supposed to let it rest. Do you think the farmers in the world are doing that right now? Wow, so they messed it up. Because it clearly says that you're supposed to let the land rest. After the 6 years, in the 7th year, it's supposed to rest. Go ahead.
Verse 11. But the seventh year you shall let it rest and lie still, that the poor of your people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field shall eat.
So it's for the poor people. Wow, they don't care nothing about the poor people. Finish that out.
In like manner you shall deal with your vineyard and your olive yard.
So, go ahead.
6 days you shall do your work, and on the seventh day you shall rest, that your ox and your ass and your donkey may rest, and your son of the handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed.
Maybe what?
Refreshed.
So it said the Most High was refreshed after his 7th on the 7th day as well. So even the land is supposed to rest. And since we didn't let the land rest, what happened to us? We got what? We got kicked out the land. Let's see. 2 Chronicles 36 and 19. Second Chronicles 36, verse 19.
Second Chronicles chapter 36 and verse 19. And they burnt the house of Elohim.
They did what?
And they burnt the house of Elohim.
Go ahead.
And break down the wall of Jerusalem. And burnt all the palaces thereof with fire. And destroyed all the goodly vessels thereof. And them that had escaped from the sword carried away to Babylon. And they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
How long was they there in Babylon captivity? 70 years. Another multiple of 7. Go ahead.
To fulfill the word of Yahuwah by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths.
Enjoy what?
Her Sabbaths.
Those Sabbaths. So since we didn't let the land rest like it was supposed to be done, this is why we were kicked out, so the land could even rest. And what year? the 7th year. Finish that out.
For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Shabbat to fulfill 70 years.
10 years, how long is that?
70 years.
70 years. So, just because we didn't do that, this happened. Let's get Exodus chapter 21 and verse 1.
Shemot, chapter 21 and verse 1. Now these are the judgments which you shall set before them. If you buy a Hebrew servant,
If you do what?
if you buy a Hebrew servant,
Some people that bought some Hebrew servants, right? We Hebrew servants, right? Or slaves, right? Go ahead.
6 years he shall serve.
6 years he shall do what?
Serve.
Go ahead.
And in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
Why they ain't let us go out free? He says if you buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve. And in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. Wow. So just like the land is supposed to rest after the 6 years, in the 7th it's supposed to rest. When you got a Hebrew slave, he was supposed to go out for free for nothing in the 7th. So have these people followed this?
Absolutely not.
Wow. But they ain't followed nothing. So again, we're supposed to go free. Let's get Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 9. Now we're done. Leviticus 25 verse 9.
Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 9. Then shall you cause the trumpet of the Jubilee.
Trumpet of what?
Of the Jubilee.
The trumpet of the Jubilee. When the Mashiach come back, trumpets gonna blow. Read.
To sound on the 10th day of the 7th month.
What month?
The 7th month.
Of the 7th month. Go ahead.
And the day of atonement shall you make the trumpet sound throughout all your land.
Go ahead.
And you shall hallow the 50th year.
What year?
The 50th year.
So how do we get to this 50th year? We count, how do we count it?
7 Sundays.
7 years of Sabbaths, right? And then because that comes out to 49, and the 50th year, read that from the top again, verse 10.
And you shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty.
What does liberty mean? Freedom. Read.
And proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and you shall return every man unto his possession, and you shall return every man unto his family.
Every man is supposed to be returned to his possession and to his family. Have they done that to us yet? So, if you was living over 50 years, you should be free. They should have proclaimed liberty and let you go. Read on.
The jubilee shall the 50th year be unto you. You shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of your vine undressed. For it is the jubilee. It shall be kodesh unto you. You shall eat the increase thereof out of the field. In the year of the jubilee, you shall return every man unto his possession.
He shall return every man into his possession. So we know for 6,000 years, somebody has had everybody in captivity and won't let them go. Let's get Isaiah 14. And we're going to read it from the surface, and what it's saying on the surface. Isaiah 14 and verse 16.
Sheyahu, chapter 14 and verse 16. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you and consider you, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners.
As in what?
Opened not the house of his prisoners.
So somebody got the world in prison or captivity for the last 6,000 years, and he won't open the house of the prisoners. Let's get Isaiah 61. Let's see what the Mashiach is coming to do. Isaiah 61. And verse 1.
Yeshayahu chapter 61 and verse 1. The Ruach of Yahuwah Elohim is upon me, because Yahuwah have anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison.
To the what?
And the opening of the prison.
He says to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prisons. Because we don't even realize it right now. We think we're free and we still in it. Because Hamashiach ain't came and got us out of it yet. But since we can go across 8 Mile and buy some shoes, we think we're free. But we're not right now. We read it from the top again.
Yeshayahu chapter 61 and verse 1. The Ruach of Yahuwah Elohim is upon me, because Yahuwah have anointed me to preach good tidings to the meek. He have sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives.
That's what they said in that Jubilee. You're supposed to proclaim liberty. Go free. Read.
And the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
So we just read that Isaiah 14:16 talk about somebody that wouldn't open the house of the prisoners. In the Jubilee, everybody was supposed to go free. But we know the earth. Give me Job 9:24. One of the most famous twisted scriptures in the book. Job 9:24.
Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Into who?
Into the hand of the wicked.
The white man.
Into the hand of the wicked.
Into the hand of the wicked. And we know who he's talking about because we can just jump right back to the beginning of the chapter, the book, and see who came to talk to the Most High. And who was doing what they was doing to Job. It wasn't the white man, but Satan that was doing this. Absolutely. Let's continue. Exodus 24 and verse 12.
Shemot chapter 24 and verse 12. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, come up to me.
Do what?
Come up to me.
Come where?
Come up to me.
Where?
Into the mount. And be there, and I will give you tables of stone, and a law, and commandments which I have written, that you may teach them.
But you know what?
That you may teach them.
So he says, come up to me, and I'm going to give you a law. Tables of stone. Who wrote these? Who wrote these commandments? What was they written by?
The finger.
The finger of the Most High, right? All what we got right here, we coming right back. Exodus 31 and 18.
Shemot chapter 31 and verse 18. And he gave unto Moshe, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim.
Written with the finger of Elohim. We're still coming right back to the other spot. Give me Luke 11 and 20. Luke chapter 11 and verse 20.
Luke chapter 11 and verse 20. But if I, with the finger of Elohim,
With what?
with the finger of Elohim,
Now we know he was the one casting the demons out. Read that again.
but if I, with the finger of Elohim, cast out devils, no doubt the kingdom of Elohim is come upon you.
So he's letting you know he is that finger that wrote this. Let's go back to the Exodus 24. And pick it up at verse 13.
Shemot, chapter 24 and verse 13. And Moshe rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moshe went up unto the mount of Elohim,
And go again, Moses went up. Read.
and he said unto the elders, tarry you here for us until we come again unto you. And behold, Aharon and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moshe went up unto the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the esteem of Yahuwah abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days.
How long did the cloud cover it?
6 days.
And the cloud covered it for 6 days. 6 days. Keep that in mind. Read.
And the 7th day,
And what day?
and the 7th day,
Go ahead.
he called out Moshe out of the midst of the cloud.
So right here we got Moses going up. The cloud covered this thing for 6 days, and after that, on the 7th day, he started talking to Moses. Keep this in mind. Let's get Genesis chapter 5 and verse 18.
Bereshit, chapter 5 and verse 18. And Yared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. And Yared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Yared were 962 years, and he died.
Go ahead.
And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Elohim.
He did what?
Walked with Elohim.
So Enoch walked with Elohim. Go ahead.
And begot Methuselah 300 years, and begot sons and daughters.
Go ahead.
All the days of Enoch were 365 years.
So all the days of Enoch were 365 years. Go ahead.
And Enoch walked with Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him.
So what is the significance of Enoch walking with the Most High? What's the significance of this right here? Yeah, to a degree. But we talk about him himself. What's the significance of Enoch being taken up? We've been talking about going up. Anybody? Going once? Nobody's gonna get it. Let's get on Jude. What number is we dealing with today? 7, right? Go ahead. Now pick it up at verse 14.
Jude, verse 14. And Enoch also, the 7th from Adam.
He was what?
The 7th from Adam.
He was the 7th from Adam. Why does Jude give us this bit of information? That he was the 7th. It's only but one chapter. So Jude 1 and 14. Again, why does Jude feel the need to tell us that he was the 7th from Adam? In that 7th generation from Adam, this man went up. Let's keep showing us something about people going up. Moses went up, and they went up, And they went up. It keeps showing us this. And always it's on a 7. Every single time it's on a 7 or right after the 7. This is what it's trying to show you. In the 7, Enoch being the 7th from Adam prophesied of these things. Because he was the 7th, he went up. Let's go back. Let's get on Mark chapter 9. We're going to read this through and then come back through and break it down. Marcos chapter 9. Chapter 9 verse 1.
Verse 1. Verse 1. And he said unto them, Truly I say unto you, that there be some of them that stand here, which shall not taste of death, till they have seen the kingdom of Elohim come with power.
What does this mean when he says this? Verily I say unto you, that there some of them that stand here, which shall not taste death. What does this mean? So is Peter, and has the second coming happened yet? So Peter and them still alive then, right? They are? What does this mean? Huh?
Said the same thing with Enoch.
Nope. We're finna see. Because a lot of the people that don't believe in the New Testament, they come here and they use this verse to say, see that book alive. Peter and them dead. Because they didn't see the kingdom come. But they never do what the book tells you to do. Just keep reading. Exactly. Read on.
Verse 2. And after 6 days.
How long?
After 6 days.
After 6 days,
Who shall take with him Peter and James and Yehukanan and lead them up into a high mountain.
who let them where?
Into a high mountain.
Who let them up?
Into a high mountain.
Go ahead.
Apart by themselves. And he was transfigured before them.
He was what?
Transfigured before them.
What does this transfigured represent? Yeah.
Change.
Change, exactly. Go ahead.
And his raiment became shining and exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on the earth can white them.
No bleach could get this stuff this white. Go ahead.
And there appeared unto them Elias with Moshe,
Elijah. Go ahead.
and they were talking with Yahusha.
So they are talking with the Messiah. This is Elijah and Moses. Read on.
And Peter answering said to Yahusha, Master, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moshe, and one for Elijah. But he wist not what to say, for they were sore afraid.
Go ahead.
And there was a cloud that overshadowed them. And a voice came out of the cloud, saying, This is my beloved Son. Hear him. And suddenly, when they had looked round about, they saw no man anymore, except Yahusha only, so themselves.
What is this meaning and getting at right here? We're going to go back to verse. Matter of fact, pick it up at verse 1 and we're going to walk it through and break it down.
And he said unto them, Truly I say unto you, that there be some of them that stand here, which shall not taste of death, till they have seen the kingdom of Elohim come with power.
So how did they see the kingdom come with power? The transfiguration, exactly. So they seen it. They seen a mini glimpse of the second coming. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. And after 6 days, Yahusha take with him Kepha and James and Yehukanan, and lead them up into a high mountain, apart by themselves, and he was transfigured.
So what does Peter and them represent in this right here? Everything must be established by what?
Two or three witnesses.
By 2 or 3 witnesses. Before we thought that Moses and Elijah represented the 2 witnesses, but they don't. We'll show you what they represent. Give me Deuteronomy 19. Deuteronomy 19 and verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 15. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin. And any sin that he sinned, at the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established.
Matthew 18 and 16. Through our precepts we get what?
Understanding.
Matthew 18 and 16.
Matthew chapter 18 and verse 16. But if he will not hear you, then take with you 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses,
How many?
in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses,
Go ahead.
every word may be established.
That every word may be established. Isaiah 43.
Isaiah chapter 43 and
Verse 10.
10. You are my witnesses,
He showed us somebody right here that we are his witnesses. Go ahead.
saith Yahuwah, and my servant whom I have chosen, that you may know and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me,
Verse 12.
verse 12, I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore, you are my witnesses.
You are what?
You are my witnesses.
You are my witnesses. Let's see who this is talking about. Acts 3 and 15.
Acts of the Apostles, chapter 3 and verse 15. And killed the Prince of Life, whom Elohim hath raised from the dead, whereof we are witnesses.
We're what?
We are witnesses.
We are witnesses. That's what Peter and them was there for. To witness this. Go ahead.
And his name, through faith in his name, hath made this man strong.
Let's go back to the Mark 9. Pick it up at verse 3.
Marcos chapter 9 and verse 3. And his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fur on the earth can white them.
So as no fur on earth can white them. What does the white represent?
Pure.
Righteousness, right? Oh, we got Revelations 3 and 4.
Chazon chapter 3 and verse 4. You have a few names, even in Sardis, which have not defiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white.
And what?
In white.
In white. So we're going to be coming back. He's going to be in white. This is a picture of the second coming. Revelations 19 and 8.
Chazon chapter 19 and verse 8. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white.
Clean and what?
Clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
Jump down to verse 14.
Verse 14. And the armies which were in Shamaim followed him upon the white horses.
What kind of horses?
White horses.
Go ahead.
Clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
Clothed with fine linen, white and clean. Let's go back to Mark. Pick it up at verse 4. Yep. Mark 9 and 4. Marcos chapter 9 and verse 4.
And there appeared unto them Elijah with Moshe, and they were talking with Yahushua.
So what does Elijah and Moses represent right here?
Two witnesses? The two witnesses?
Peter and them represent the witnesses. So they appear, Elijah and Moses. What do they represent? What's special about Elijah? He went up, right? What's special about Moses?
Went up.
All right. Elijah, go ahead. The new guy back there. New guy. Go ahead. Come on, you got it.
Our arms are always open, man.
All right, we'll just get into it. All right, he says, and there appeared unto them Elijah and with Moses, and there they talked with the Messiah. So we know Moses represents what? The law, right? And Elijah represents the prophets. The prophets. Elijah never died though, right? Moses did die though, right? So we got to see. Let's go to Malachi chapter 4. Absolutely not. Malachi chapter 4 and verse 4. This gonna kill us. Malachi 4 and 4.
Malachi chapter 4 and verse 4. Remember you the law of Moshe my servant.
Forget the law.
Remember you the law of Moshe my servant.
Wow, how do they twist this? The last book before you get into the New Testament, he told you what?
Remember the law of Moshe my servant.
Wow, the one commandment that says to remember, they tell you to forget it. Something backwards. But now we got Moses right here. Remember ye the law of Moses, go ahead,
which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and the judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet.
So we got them both back to back in the book of Malachi. Moses and Elijah.
The prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahuwah. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
So we got these two here. One of them died, the other one was took up. That's it. So now, since y'all got that tidbit, what are they representing right here? Huh? Anybody else?
Said the first covenant?
Of course, the law and testimony. We went over that part. What they actually representing. Let's see. Get Thessalonians. First Thessalonians. Chapter 4. Pick it up at verse 15.
1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 15. For this we say unto you by the word of Yah, that we which are alive and remain,
We which are what?
alive and remain,
We which are alive and remain, go ahead.
unto the coming of Yah, shall not prevent them which are asleep.
Read on.
For Yah himself shall descend from Shamayim with a shout, with the voice of the Archmalakim, with the trump of Elohim, and the dead and Hamashiach shall rise first.
And the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. So Moses is representing the people that died. Then he told us that we which are alive and remain alive, that's Elijah, who never died. Read it from the top again.
1 Thessalonians 4:15. For this we say unto you, by the word of the Master, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Master shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Master himself shall descend from Shamayim with a shout, with the voice of the Archmalakim, and with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first.
And the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. So Moses represents the people that died. Elijah represents the people that will never die. That's going to be alive when he comes. Read verse 17.
Yeah. And we which are alive and remain shall be caught up.
Shall be what?
Shall be caught up.
Shall be caught up. This is what it's trying to say. It's all them times when it says, and they went up. And they went up. And they went up. It's trying to show you this. After a period of time, we gonna do what?
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Master in the air, and so shall we ever be with our Master.
And so shall we ever be with our Master. Now, what's the thing with Moses? We know that Moses died. So how was he there with Elijah? How was he there? It's not a trick question. Give me Jude 1 and 9.
Jude, verse 9. Yet Michael, the Archmalakim, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moshe. Do not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Master rebuke you, but these speak evil of those things which they know not.
So it's showing us right here that Moses got an early resurrection of some sort. Which this book is alluding to that very thing of Michael coming to resurrect Moses. And this is what him and Satan was arguing about. So Moses represents the resurrected, the dead in the Mashiach, and Elijah represents those which are alive and remain alive going up. And all of this is going to take place in the 7,000 year. And we're close to that right now. Let's go back to that Mark. Verse 5, Mark 9 and verse 5.
Marcos, chapter 9 and verse 5. And Kepha answered and said to Yahusha, Master, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moshe, and one for Elijah.
3 tabernacles. How many temples has it been? Actually, Moses made one as well. So, what do these 3 men have in common with each other? Moses, Elijah, and Hamashiach. What's another thing that they have in common with each other? What? Yeah, leaving, but yeah, that's not it. Nope.
They was all chosen.
Yeah, all chosen, but it's something in the scripts. fasting for 40 days. Let's get it. Exodus 34:28. Shavuot. Chapter 34 and verse
28. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments.
So right here we got Moses, 40 days, 40 nights, eating nothing. Let's look 1 Kings 19 and 8.
First Kings chapter 19 and verse 8. And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of Elohim.
So Elijah ate something, and in the strength of that, when he ate, fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Let's see, Amasiah, Matthew chapter 4.
Matiyahu chapter 4 and verse 2. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungry.
So we see the connection with these three right here. They all fasted 40 days and 40 nights and didn't eat nothing. So the Most High just randomly put some people, he didn't just pick out a couple of prophets, say, I'll put Moses there and him there. This stuff all got a pattern to it. And it all worked out in a way that he's trying to actually show you what's to take place. So we've been in this captivity. Satan's been having the world in captivity for 6,000 years. And going into the Sabbath, we're going to go into that rest, or the give me Revelation 20 and 4.
Chazon chapter 20 and verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their forehead, or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with a Mashiach 1,000 years.
For 1,000 years. We know that this is talking about the quote-unquote 1,000-year Sabbath. That if you're righteous enough, you'll get to make it to this. So all through the book, he's trying to show you this. After 6 days, after 6 years, after 6,000 years, you will enter into that Sabbath or Sabbath and rest. What you said when that little boy got his thing, and he says, and the land was quiet. Meaning they went into a rest. Right after that to show you. So all through the book, he's trying to show you. So that 1,000 years represents a quote-unquote a day. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 2 and 17.
Bereshit chapter 2
Pick up at verse 16.
and verse 16. And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in that day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die.
You shall what?
You shall certainly die.
So he said, in that day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. When they ate that, did they die right then and there?
Not at all.
No, they didn't. How old was Adam? Did Adam live to be? 900 and something years old. So he didn't make what?
A day.
He didn't make a day. So this is what it's talking about. So when we enter into, we're in the 6,000 something year, almost to the 7,000 year, and you gotta make it into this, to enter into that 1,000-year reign. So this is what he's trying to show us all the way from Genesis chapter 2 about entering into the 7th day the 7th year, and the 7,000th year. So, with that, say shalom. Any questions?